Chapter 25. Cities like Sparsha, Chikitsa, etc. It is an experience that great people can cure diseases and other ailments by just touching or just looking at them. Since the power of the Supreme Soul is also deeply pervaded in their five senses, there is no doubt that this city comes. The biologist J.B.S. Haldane writes, "The physical elements of each person are slightly different from those of another person, just as the features of hands, feet, face, hair, etc. are unique to each person. The mental elements are also different. If this is true for an ordinary person, it is plausible that the Siddhars, who have been purified by yoga fire and endowed with yoga medicine, will have bodies and rare qualities." Silas Pradesh, 2. Neil Pratyar says, "Those who have attained the Apurva siddhi in the path of Adhyatma Yoga, although they appear to be old bodies to the naked eye, they are completely new creations in their inner selves. If a devotee eats a piece of their new body, he too immediately becomes a Siddha." Siddhas, 3. Sabapati Swamigal has said about our lives, "Rishis and yogis sit in yoga samadhi with their bodies for many centuries as they wish, and then transform it into a Swayam Linga and attain liberation. And some, having kept their physical bodies in the samadhi seat for thousands of years, sit in the Parama Dhamma Nubhavam." The idols of such yoga rishis who have attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi can be seen in the Siddhas. In the Rahasya Ashrams, Patanath, 4. On this occasion, our children can also observe the divine history. When he asked Lord Shiva when he would attain salvation, Lord Shiva gave him a sugarcane stalk. He blessed him to make a pilgrimage until it took root on its own. The Patinathar also walked all the way to Tiruvodiyur, and when the stalk took root there, he dug a hole, sat in the seat in it, gave sand to the nearby youths, and asked them to close the hole. The youths did so and told this story in the village. When the villagers ran away in fear and opened the pit, they were amazed to see that the body had turned into a linga. Even now that linga can be seen in Tiruvodiyur. 5. Another example of the body not turning into stone immediately. Pilgrims in central India may have seen panda stone in shops in cities like Agra. It is in the form of a fragrant leaf or plant. When touched, it feels like stone. It is found in secret places in the forest of that region. If leaves and sticks are placed in the Lodak Tirthas, it turns into stone after some time or after a few days. Such Sai Lodhaks, Sadayo Vedi, 1-day Vedi, 3-day Vedi, etc. The characteristics and the rituals of these can be known through the Gurumukha. In our Siddhar system and in the system of the North, there are secret books related to this. 6. Besant Pratyar, in his book A Study in Consciousness, states that the form of the soul is a form of a body, usually having 4 limbs, and can be seen in the subtle vision, and that the 2 limbs and their respective qualities appear to the Siddhas due to the activity of the pituitary and pineal centers. Moreover, due to the influence of the inner limbs, the blessings given to the disciples by the Siddhas also come. Swami Vivekananda writes about the enlightenment of disciples due to the touch of the Guru. "My Guru, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, once touched me in the heart region. At that very sight, I experienced a wonderful vision. The roads, the streets, the trees, the forests, the moon and the sun all disintegrated and flew away into pieces and disappeared into the sky. Then the sky also grew old and took the intellect I somewhere. After a while, I regained my former state and saw the houses, etc. again." For such great ones, physical touch is unnecessary. The mere presence of those great ones is enough. I have already spoken about Sri Ramana Maharishi.
who is now a Jivana Mukta in Tiruvannamalai. He seriously debated the question, "Who am I?" and attained Jnana Yoga. Paul Brunton writes about him. Once, when I listened to some discourses, he did not answer, but sat in silence with his eyes fixed on Arunachala, with his flowers in full bloom. His life seemed to have come from a great distance. My little mind, which was immersed in logic, seemed to be frightened and attracted by some immense power. The true philosophical fountain of knowledge is bubbling up within my subtle body. I must remove the external problems, become an inner face, and drink the water of the fountain of knowledge. It took half an hour for the wisdom to arise, yet Ramanapasu remained in the blindfolded state of sleep. Although he seemed to have forgotten me, I realized that the enlightenment that had arisen in me was a subtle ripple from the wisdom of his infinite and mysterious state of sleep.
As I have said, I first met Ramana Bhagavan 25 years ago. Since then, I have had his darshan and darshan on many occasions. I dare say that I too have experienced the special talisman of enlightenment in his presence. The complete awakening of the Bhagavan can be considered as the Sambhavi Mudra that naturally came to him. The symptoms of Sambhavi Mudra have already been mentioned in the chapter on Taraka Yoga 9. It is clear from the history of Prusandi Maharishi that the physical body itself can be transformed by the practice of Adhyatma Yoga. This history can be found in the book Mudgala Purana Stort Tirungal, which I have recently published. He was a cruel hunter in Purva Ram, and due to the influence of Maharishi Mudgala Anugraha, he sat in a state of ecstasy for a long time, chanting the name of Ganesha. Then, when the Guru came and woke him up from his state of ecstasy, he shone like Sri Ganesha, like a sprout of praise. 10. In the Ida Kapona Minot, the story of Saint Francis, a Christian saint, can also be told. He received the marks of wounds on his physical body, like Christ who was nailed to the cross and washed, and he also showed his disciples the best medicine and other remedies. 11. In Chapter 16 of this book, I have narrated the Kashmir Dasatya Laya Yoga, which has not been published in Tamil or English till now, a collection of lectures by Sri Shamaraja about 1,000 years ago. The words Tadadamya given here for the sounds occurring in the respective yoga bhumis in the experience of the Blessed One are very rare, and for the use of those who are investigating, I have printed the commentary of Sri Shamaraja in Anupanda in some detail. 12. In the 17th chapter of this book, Parabrahmo Upasan in our heart space is described in detail. Sri Krishna Bhagavan teaches this in the Gita as the best of all types of yoga. 13. In the 18th chapter, the source of yoga nectar is described. This is a rule that all yogis agree with. Some Western subtle seers consider the substance of this mrita to be the fluid of the pituitary body and the pineal gland, that is, the third eye, near the sahasrara, which is acceptable as far as the Annamaya kosa is concerned. However, the corresponding subtle kosa forms and fluids are worthy of critical examination. Similarly, those who study the prana flow of certain internal organs through yoga practice and the fluids arising from them are worthy of attention. These nadis are of two types: sympathetic, whose function is to reduce the amount of blood flowing to the internal organs and give strength to the organs that are fighting outside, and parasympathetic, whose function is to reduce the external conflicts and nourish the internal organs. The first mentioned lymphatic nadis release the fluids of the adrenal glands, which are like poisons for fighting. The parasympathetic, in contrast, causes the secretion of nectar from the pituitary glands. Prakriti, like Paschimamurka, Kesari Mudra, Viparita Karani, etc., are very useful for the development of this nectar flow. As mentioned in the Annamaya Kosha, this nectar flow should be practiced in the Sukshma Koshas as well. I believe that friends will benefit from studying and enjoying these excellent practices. The secret of Kamagala Vilasa, explained in this chapter, is also worth noting. 14. In the 19th chapter, the practice of Ajapa Mantri and the subsequent Paschima Markanubhavam are described. In the 20th chapter, the subject of Yantrofasana is briefly discussed, and the famous Sri Yantra is shown as the first picture. In the 21st chapter, the relationship between the Brahmahanda and the Bindandas is explained. It is shown that the monthly dharma of women and Kamagala Vilasa are carried out according to the lunar date. According to Jyotita Shastra, the Brahmahanda and Bindanda Taikyam and the history of Markandeya are worth noting. 15. In the 22nd chapter, the yogic remedies for states such as wakefulness, the description of the Mandala Brahma Upanishad, and the treatment of autosuggestion are worth noting. In the Kailaya method, the sleeping elephant canopy and a defect that appears in it is shown. The story that the late enlightened Professor Ramanuja received countless teachings in a dream as a rare kashi through the prasad of Sri Narasimha is primarily published in this language. It is worth noting that the principle of calculation is the main characteristic of the mind over the intellect. In this regard, the Anusandana of Buddhi-Yil's Saranamada, Pragnanam Brahma, and Gayatri are indicated. 16. Chapters 23 to 25 describe many siddhis. According to the Kashmiri yoga system, Prithvi and Tattva Dharana. According to the Kailaya system, Agen Dharana, the Siddhas describe the greatness of the physical body.